Hello friends, my name is Akshay Bhatia and welcomes you to the new tutorial of devotional studies. Today we'll be learning more about CSS. So what are we going to cover today? Today we'll be learning what is CSS syntax. So let's get started. Hello friends, as I told you, we'll be gonna learning CSS today, right? More about it. So for the first topic today we'll be covering will be CSS in syntax, right? So basically I will tell you today what exactly CSS is, right? And how it actually works, how we can write a code in CSS, right? More about it. So let's start with first of all, let's start with CSS syntax, right? A CSS syntax will be like a rule set that contains, I would say, selector and a declaration box. That's it. That's it. You'll have to focus on, right? A selector and a declaration box. What does it mean? Means first we'll be applying CSS on an HTML tag, right? HTML elements. So first we need to select an element that will become our selector, and whatever CSS properties will be applying on that particular selector, combining that, right, combining all those properties, that will become our declaration block. Okay, so two things we'll be focusing in CSS syntax. The first one will be selector and the second one would be declaration block. So let's focus on selector first. Okay, let's learn more about selector, what exactly it is. So the selector, that basically indicates the HTML element, as I've told you, right? That basically indicates the HTML element that you want to style. You want to put some style on that element. I'm not liking that element at all. The basic HTML element, I'm not liking it. So I want to enhance the styling, right? In order to enhance the styling, I want to put some colors. I want to give you a different font, right? I want to give you a different color altogether, the background color, the font size. Those are the properties which we're gonna apply in order to enhance the style of that particular selector or the HTML element, right? So it could be any tag like h1, title tag, division tag, any tag, you name it, and we can apply CSS on it, right? So that is our selector. What is declaration block, right? The declaration block can contain one or more declaration, and that will be separated. We can separate them by a semicolon. Okay, by a semicolon. Yeah. So what do you mean by declaration, right? A block can contains one or more declaration. That means if suppose I have one element, if I'm not getting satisfied by putting one property, two properties, right, I can put n number of properties on that particular element according to my need, right? Suppose if I have a division, right, and if I want to put a paragraph in it, I want the paragraph's color would be white. Or suppose, let's not talk about paragraph, let's say I have a division but I want a border to be black, and I want that division's background color should be red. So I can put two properties in one declaration block, and the selector would be our division. Okay, the division tag would be our selector. So two things always remember, right? So I will give you an example by the end of this video as well. So let me explain you more about it so that you can get to know how exactly we can perform and how exactly we can apply CSS on a particular element or a selector. So each declaration contains property names, and each property has a value, and we can separate them by semicolon, as I told you. So declaration contains property name and value. So the hierarchy will be like, first we need a selector, then declaration block. In a declaration block we need declarations. because a declaration block can contain number of declarations. So the declaration will have two things: property name and a value for that particular property. Which, and if I'm going to I would say, if I'm going to apply more than one property, so I need to separate them with semicolon. Okay, got it? All right, so the next thing would be, let's discuss about property first. So property, what is the property? Property is basically a kind of attribute of HTML element. And what is an attribute? Suppose if I have if I have h1 tag, and their attribute is like bold, that is the font, the size. The more you go down, as in h1 to h6, the size it'll be in a decreasing order, right? So that is the attribute of those tags. So if I want to apply more attribute on a particular tag, right? So I need to give the property name, what attribute I'm gonna apply, like color, border, right? Those are basically the names of properties, right? And what is value? The value would be, if I'm going to give font size, so what will be the value? Like 100 pixel, 500 pixel, 20 pixel, what would be the size? The numbers, right? The value will be for that particular property, and that will enhance what? That will enhance the styling of the styling of an HTML element, right? So this is what we will be discussing today, right? So I will not go through any more in this topic, because that I would say you would have got to know what exactly I am talking about. So let's put it in a frame, in a practical way. So let's save this code first. Okay, I accidentally opened a new sheet. Okay, so I'll save it first. So we are in the same directory. So I would say CSS Syntax, okay, .html, because we'll be creating HTML page. Later on, I will discuss more about Selector. We'll discuss more about how can we, what are selectors, how can we, there are like a lot of things coming up. So don't focus on that particular part, focus here. So I will create an HTML code here, right? Okay, and I'll come in the body section directly. So I was talking about h1, right? So I'll give an h1 tag, right? And I will type, this is, sorry, the first CSS code with CSS example, right? I'll save it. Okay, now I need to apply CSS. So as I've told you, we'll be having three properties. Let me explain you first. We can define a CSS with like three properties, using inline CSS, using external CSS, and using internal CSS. So I'm using internal CSS here. So I'll use a tag. So I have given a tag. I'll quickly go for the selector. So here, what is our selector? That is an HTML tag, and that will be h1. Okay, we need to give h1 like this. Now we need to create a declaration block. This is our declaration block. Within two curly braces, our declaration block has been defined, right? And now first I'll have to define a declaration. That will be our property name, and followed by a value, right? So property name would be color. Okay, that is a property. And now what I'm gonna type, that is value. So value will be, I will give blue. That will be the value. And it is I have given a semicolon, because if I want to add more property name, I can do it like this. So let's save it. Let's add one more property. That'll I'll type font size. Do we have font size here? Yep. Okay, I'll type 15 pixels. Okay, I'll save it, and let's run the code. Okay, so it will give you a better picture. Yep, blue, and the size of pixels and the what do I say, font size will, it's 15. So I'll enhance the size so that I can make you understand. 20, save it, and I'll reload the code. See the size that it has got increased. So that's what, this is our selector, this is our declaration block, and this is our property name, and this is the value followed by the property. And we are creating two properties here, so we have separated it by semicolon. This is the complete syntax of CSS, and in this manner we will be covering a lot of topics. So I have used internal CSS. Just do not focus here, focus on the property, on the syntax of CSS, because that is more important right now. We will learn internal, external, and inline CSS separately in different tutorials. So today we'll be having this. I hope you have learned something from this, right? You have got to know what exactly CSS is and how can we apply CSS using a basic syntax, right? We can use multiple elements. I will explain you more about it. So if you have liked this video, please hit the like button, share the video, and subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more videos, guys. So I will see you in the next tutorial. Bye bye, have a nice day, and keep coding, guys.